As the daughter of a maid and a janitor, to have the President of the United States come to Florida to campaign with me, to help me get my message out, isn't that what the American dream is all about?
I am joined now by Florida Congresswoman and United States Senate candidate Val Demings. And I have to point out, Congresswoman, that we are here with a crowd that loves you. And I want to point out to our audience that you were supposed to be with us last night when we were supposed to do the live show at another location. So that's why you're remote now, because you're in my former county. You're in Broward County, where I used to live right now. So that is why you're not here. But I know folks here miss you, but I know that's why you're not here. But
well,
I'm in your district,
sure
so your district is beautiful.
Yeah. It's great to be in Broward, but I tell you, that's my hometown crowd, so welcome to Orlando.
They're giving you your flowers. They love you. So, and say hi to my county for me, too, Congresswoman, please. Let me start out by talking, and I'm glad you're in Broward, because a good friend of mine that actually lives in Broward County and I had a long talk yesterday when we were talking about turnout. You know, and I am an evangelist. I am a voting evangelist. Anybody who knows me knows I am at my most annoying during election season because I harass everybody and I make them vote. I mean, so I'm in the store saying, person behind the counter, did you vote? You know, but what I'm hearing about Florida, unlike a lot of other states like Georgia and states like Pennsylvania, is that African-American voters are voting in lighter numbers than one would think with a black woman on the ballot, with somebody who I know is very popular here, yourself on the ballot. I just want to give you a couple statistics here. In 2018, at this stage, there were about 3,359,000 votes on the table. It's a little down from that now. It's 3,283,121. That's a total Florida absentee vote. It's about a decline of 76,000 votes. You talk about Seminole County. They're seeing low turnout, and that's here, closer to where I am right now. Lower turnout. And then if you compare Florida to Pennsylvania and Georgia, it's not quite keeping up. Why do you think that is, and how can you encourage folks in this state to get out and vote? Well, actually, Florida's a little ahead of Georgia. How can you encourage folks in this state to vote?
Well, Joy, I can tell you, I have been on the ground here myself in Broward County, just several trips, knocking on doors myself, talking to people who have not voted. As you well know, the last 2 years has been tough. It's been tough for everybody, but we also know that Florida was hit hard by the pandemic. Florida's been hit hard by hurricanes, natural disasters. And so we are making sure, though, that we get out and knock on doors and talk to people about if we're going to change things, if we're going to make sure that people who have been hit hard, people who have lost their jobs, people who've been adversely affected by climate change and the intense storms that they bring, if people are going to, be impacted by the lack of health care, we're fighting for that. And so we're trying to certainly make voting easier and not harder, talking to people about have a plan to vote, don't wait till Election Day, which a lot of people do. We're glad that they get out and vote, but we're asking the voters, please do not wait for Election Day. Have a plan, think about how you're going to vote, transportation, make sure of your polling place, and let's get this done.
Your opponent, Marco Rubio, he is the co-sponsor of what would be a national abortion ban. Lindsey Graham's bill to ban abortion nationwide, he's the co-sponsor. It would create the same law federally that is here in the state of Florida. Is that an issue that comes up when you're talking to folks and you're going and knocking on doors?
You know, Joy, it is. Of course, people are concerned about costs. We have a lack of affordable housing in Florida, a greater lack of affordable housing than we do in New York City and Los Angeles, which is shocking to believe. People are concerned about gas at the pumps. Children are concerned about the cost of tuition or being saddled with debt. Seniors are concerned about the cost of prescription drugs. There's only one party who's trying to do something about that. But the bottom line is, as we talk about the issues that people care about, I have not been in many meetings at all where protecting constitutional rights has not been an issue. women, we are not going back to a time where we're treated as second-class citizens or property. We're going to fight to protect the right to choose, and that's what voters expect their United States Senator from Florida to do.
You know, and the Republicans, including your opponent, they're trying to make crime an issue. Crime is not up nationwide. It's not, you know, changed definitively from the previous president's era, but they want to run on that. You actually are a former member of law enforcement. It's a bit ironic that they're trying to use that against you, but he is trying to do that. In your view, how many hours will it take after the election for the Republicans to stop talking about crime? Because it doesn't seem like it's an issue they care about if they don't care about January 6th.
Well, and Joy, look, I served 27 years, as you well know, as a law enforcement officer, had the honor of serving as the chief of police. I certainly did not pick and choose when I wanted to fight crime based on the political climate. We fought crime every day, and we were able to reduce violent crime by 40%. Marco Rubio only likes to talk about crime when he thinks it is politically advantageous to do it. And you're absolutely right. Doggone it, I was in the Capitol on January 6th. You talk about a day when crime fell on the steps of the Capitol, entered the building, and terrorized members of Congress, our leadership, and our staff. If Marco Rubio is so concerned about crime, why didn't he vote for an independent commission to investigate what happened on January 6th? So look, I'm just not talking the talk. I walk the walk.
Let me ask you about Marco Rubio's sort of his campaign. He had one campaign member who, it turns out, is associated with white supremacist groups. He was his hospital room after he was hit in when he was campaigning for Marco Rubio, I guess canvassing for him. And the Proud Boys were literally guarding his hospital room. We've now had members of the Proud Boys who are acting as poll watchers, walking around in Miami-Dade, and that's a group that we know was involved in January 6th. They're now getting involved in the Miami-Dade Republican Party. Are you concerned that there's been a merger between the extremists who participated in January 6th and the party that you're running against?
Well, you know, my mom used to say, we know you by the company that you keep. And I said it on the debate stage, and I'm going to say it tonight. I have been extremely disappointed in Marco Rubio's performance. His desire, it appears, to win by any means necessary. Yeah, he spoke up quickly about his canvasser who was beat. And look, I said quickly as well that political violence of any kind is not tolerated. It shouldn't be tolerated any place or at any time. But Paul Pelosi was beat in the head with a hammer. And does Marco Rubio know that? Because somehow I haven't heard where he has spoken up and spoken out against that. But Joy, the bottom line is this. I won't do anything or say anything to win. I trust the voters of Florida, and they have a real choice in this race. We ask you to not wait till Election Day. Get out and vote early. If you need more information, you know, Joy, go to valdemings.com, and let's win this thing so that Florida will have the representation they deserve.
I'm going to ask you one last question, because I know that you were an impeachment manager during one of the two impeachments of the former president. We are now getting more and more information that John Eastman, about what he was doing in terms of trying to involve Clarence Thomas, Justice Clarence Thomas of the Supreme Court, Supreme Court directly in the election. Are you concerned that if Republicans take over the House, that the investigations into January 6th will promptly end?
You know, Joy, when you are bold enough to say to the Attorney General to clear your calendar, I am 100% convinced that if the Republicans take over, the investigations will end. And that's why we cannot allow that to happen. Our democracy is at risk.
Congresswoman and United States Senate candidate Val Demings, thank you very much.